Hello, everyone. Good night for all of is from Brazil, and good morning from for Turkmenistan and other countries around that place. Today, we
Good morning.
will have a presentation about our second episode on the webinar series in the project called Brazil and Turkmenistan for Zero Waste. Is an initiative that we are launched, the Global Eco Alliance in the world, starting in Brazil with the cooperation with Turkmenistan. And today we have two presentations, and we are here because of the ABES Connecta. ABES Connecta is a broadcast YouTube made from the, let me see my volume here, sorry. I'm just adjusting some settings. So anyway, ABES Connecta is a great platform from Brazilian Association of Environmental and Sanitary Engineering in Brazil, ABES. ABES is the most important association in sanitation in Brazil. And we have over 10,000 professionals in our association. And this webinar series is made with the partnership with Humphrey Fellowship Program. Today, we are 5 Humphreys here in this broadcast. We are talking about zero waste, climate change, and the sustainable development issues. And we hope you enjoy this webinar with us. And Humphrey Fellowships is a program created in 46 years ago, and we are over 6,000 Humphreys around the world, and we are over 160 countries that has attended this program yearly in United States and around 19 universities in America. So I hope all of our audience will enjoy and like very much about the topics that we are bring to you. So I will call ARSLAN to introduce and to be our moderator in this webinar.
Thank you very much, Dio. Good evening to the people in Brazil and good morning in Turkmenistan. So I'm very glad to moderate today's session. Thanks again to our sponsors, ABS and Humphrey Fellowship and all the other who are supporting today's session. So my name is Arslan. I am a Humphrey Fellow from Turkmenistan who attended University of California, Davis in the area of natural resources, environmental policy, and climate change. So, as Dio mentioned, we are joined today by other Humphrey Fellows, but we will have the first webinar today, the first session, presentation by DIOGENES, will be on zero waste movements in the world and projects in Goiânia city, Brazil. So I think I would welcome Diogenes to present himself and start his presentation. We will then join by Artur, who will also do the presentation, which will follow after Diogenes. So Diogenes, the floor is yours. Please present yourself and go ahead with your presentation. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone again. I will show my presentation first. I think all of you can see my presentation. I don't know if the presentation appear on the screens.
Yes, Dio, we can see it.
Oh, that's cool. Let me put here. Okay. Today, I will talk about zero waste movements in the world and projects in Goiânia City, Brazil. What Goiânia has done with the zero waste project and practices in order to promote this important topic in the global agenda. So I'm a civil engineer from Federal University of Goiás State. I'm a specialist in solid waste management and work safety engineering. I do have a master's degree in environmental and sanitary engineering. I do have my own consultancy entrepreneurship called DIÓGENES Institute of Environmental Development in Brazil. We call Instituto IDA. And I am a president of Zero Waste Society Association. We are opening this association in this project, supported by the International Institute of Education. And also I am an engineer of environmental agency of Goiânia City Hall in my city. And also I am director of technical chambers of Brazilian Environmental Sanitary Engineering Association in Goiás State, ABES. My topics will be around 4 topics today. First, we will talk about global problems with solid waste. Solid waste is the most great problem in the world, and we will explain how this affects negatively our health and environment. Secondly, we will talk about the concept of zero waste. In third, we will talk about history of zero waste in the world. And finally, zero waste project in Goiânia City and Brazil. One of the great current problems in the globe is the municipal solid waste management.
Sorry, Diogenes.
Yes, you
sorry
can.
to interrupt. People on the chat are just asking you to put on presentation mode if you can, because they can see the slides better. Thank you.
Oh, let me see, because I asked the initial of the presentation. Let me put here. I'm sorry. Let me see how can I adjust.
In your right, in the end, in the right, you can. Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Perfect now. Oh, that's
Thank
cool.
you, Dio.
Thanks so much, Liliana, because we can see YouTube screen. So sorry for that. Let me talk about the first topic that I'm talking about, global problems with solid waste. One of the greatest current problems in the globe is the municipal solid waste. Why? Because the global population has generated high rates of generation of trash. And of course, these trash are badly managed today. Mainly in the final destination, we have disposal in the soil and the water, and mostly solid waste in the world are burned today, and we have problems with fire, with the climate change, because this gas emissions from solid waste burning. And of course, all these actions, not good actions, but bad actions in terms of management, it causes many kind of bad or negatively impacts, like environmentals, economics, socials, sanitaries, cultures, impacts in the global series. According to the World Bank, in 2018, the World Bank said, from 2016, the world generate over 2 billion tons of trash, and probably by 2050, the world will generate 3.4 billion tons of trash. It is so much trash. It means almost 1 kilograms per inhabitants in the world generate trash per day. So in Goiás state, we are in the same way. So the range of the generation of trash is between 0.46 kilogram to 0.99 kilograms inhabitant per day, which means Goiás state need to stop this kind of generation because we are in the same way that the world is going to. So if you don't stop this kind of generation and this kind of final destination, probably we will have many kind of problems. In the world, we have two kind of scenarios. One scenario is from the developed countries. 1/3 waste are recovered in these countries. But my question is, how many countries are developed in the world? Only 37 developed countries are in the world. And developed country that has a good solution in terms of recycling, composting, other kind of recovery materials. But the population from the developed country represent only 17% of the global population. In other hands, we have the underdeveloped countries, developing countries, and the other countries, exception 37 developed countries, we have at least 158 other kind of countries, which means we have a population living in these other countries represent something around 83% of the global population. So my question is, how it's possible to deal with this problem in the world, even we have good examples of zero waste and recycling and composting countries, but of course, mostly of the population living in the other kind of countries, like underdeveloped countries or developing countries. In these countries, mostly of the actions about trash goes to the dump sites, illegal dump sites, which contaminates the water, the soil, then air, with the many kind of problems. So the trash has caused many kinds of problems related to the high generation. The trash causes illnesses, global warming and climate change problems, floods. In Brazil, we had floods in Porto Alegre this year, and we could see on the street many kind of trashes in the drainage system. And of course, trash causes water pollution and scarcity of water, and we don't have room for so much trash. If you look around your city, it's mostly of the cases we can't find. It's impossible to have spaces. In Brazil is a huge country. Of course, landfill in some cities is a solution, but places like São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro has difficult to find these areas for landfill. Our current challenge today is to invert this pyramid. Why? Because on the bottom of this pyramid, like 90% of the trash that are generated go to the landfill. So which means we land all our trash, mostly of that. And only 10% of our solid waste goes to the reduction or reuse or recycling. But in other countries, like in Europe, in the United States, in Australia, mostly of the solid waste, like 90%, are recycled, recovered, reused, or other kind of solution instead to land to the landfill. So you have to invert. You have to prevent, to promote a sustainable consumption. We have to change our product design, and also you have to promote a producer responsibility, which means if you generate trash, mostly of the municipalities in Brazil, I mean, big municipalities like Brasilia, capital of Brazil, if you generate over 120 liters of trash, you have to pay for it. So in Goiânia also, if you generate like 200 liters of solid waste, you have to pay for that. This is a kind of actions that all municipalities in the world probably we will have this kind of strategies in order to reduce. What is the concept of zero waste? So one of the solutions in trash sector or in solid waste sector is to implement zero waste strategies. Zero waste is the conservation of all resource by means of responsible production, responsible consumption, reuse, and recovery of products, packaging, and materials without burning, and with no discharge to land, water, or air that threaten the environment or human health. This is the concept from the Zero Waste International Alliance, the most important organization in the world about zero waste. Let me put. So the adoption of zero waste practices in the city, according to Zaman and Lehman in 2013, include environmental education and sustainable consumption, new technology, new infrastructure and transformed industrial design, incentives for increasing recovery rates, and policies and legislation of reasonable use of natural resources. There are some good examples of zero waste cities in the world, like San Francisco. San Francisco in the California state, in United States, they got a good results, like 80% diversion of waste from the landfill. It's a good rate. San Diego in the United States also has a good zero waste project. And Adelaide, Australia, they divert 82% of the waste out of landfill. And Kamikatsu in Japan, they divert 81%. And there is one other good city in Europe, in Italy. The name is Contarina, and Contarina divert 92%, which means it's possible to implement this kind of solution in other global cities. Of course, we have to promote education, new infrastructure, and legislation, and other strategies, but it's possible. The concept of zero waste means we have to mimic the natural cycles in order to establish the circular economy, which means we will not have loss, will not have a waste burning or landing. It's important the shared responsibility in all sector, which means public sector is responsible. The private company also is responsible, and the population has our own responsibility too. A little bit about the history of zero waste in the world. So the zero waste started to be promoted in 70 years after the first UN, United Nations Conference of Environment in 1972 in Stockholm, in Sweden, with the inception of the Earth Day in 1970. We kickstarted a movement towards reassessing the concept of waste entirely, which means it's not possible to understand only the generation. You have to understand before the generation. How do you generate your trash? Because you bought some disposable materials, some dischargeable materials, or we have to find other kind of packaging in order don't generation trash. So this is what they asked, they agree in that time. In 1980, in Berkeley, California, one entrepreneur, they opened a Urban Ore. Urban Ore is a big store. They sell all kinds of reusable materials, and they're so big. And the Urban Ore, you can see on the picture, is a kind of eco park. Why is eco park? Because all kinds of materials, even from household materials, construction and demolition materials, all kinds of materials that furniture, painting, that are reusable, they sell to this place or they donate it, and they sell for the population with the cheap price. So anyway, they tell to the people with the year report that they divert over 8,000 tons of trash. So after this kind of initiative, like a store, it's a kind of it's a kind of Ross or other outlet store, you can find any kind of things with a good price. So in 1990, the campaign with the No Waste and the entity called Grassroots Recycling Network, we started to promote this concept with zero waste. In 2002, the millennium era or decade, arise the Zero Waste International Alliance, promoted by Richard Anthony. Richard Anthony was he attended the Grassroots Recycling Network, United States, and they promoted this new alliance in the world, trying to promote the concept of zero waste. In 2002, the two professionals, William McDonald from the United States, he is an architect, and one chemistry engineer, Michael Braungart from Germany, they wrote the book Cradle to Cradle. Cradle to Cradle was a fantastic book that fight against the concept of cradle to grave, which means the materials don't have to be created in order to be disposable or dischargeable, but the materials should be renewable. The materials should be reused, recycled, and recovered as much as possible. 2004, the Zero Waste SA was founded in south of Australia. This is a company in Australia, public, that promotes environmental education for the population to implement in their houses the recycling programs and compost and other kind of. In 2010, was created and founded the Instituto Lixo Zero Brasil, which means a Brazil Zero Waste Institute in Florianópolis City. In 2013, Dr. Atik Zaman in Australia wrote about zero waste cities, a model for cities in the world. In 2014, was founded the Brasilia Zero Waste Alliance. In 2014, I finished my Humphrey year in the United States at UCDavis, California, and I came to Brazil and mobilized and it started the Zero Waste Society movement in Goiás state, mainly in Goiânia City, Brazil. In 2022, United Nations created an International Day of Zero Waste, and all March 30th. So in 2013 and 14, Hubert Humphrey program inspired me to know about zero waste practice in United States, and I started to dream in order to create zero waste society. And in my Humphrey year, I was here in the Davis and the left side, and also I was in the capital of United States, in Washington, D.C., and you can see me here inside this yellow circle. The picture is not good, but believe me, I was there. So when I was there in United States, I started my two professional affiliations, one in Call Recycle. Call Recycle is a public department of resources, recycling, and recovery. For me, it was amazing. Why? Because in Brazil, when you have an environmental agency in a one county and a one city, all the problems, all the kind of environmental problems goes to this agency, which means the efforts for solid waste solutions is so low level, because we have to divide our efforts with energy, with transportation, with other kind of issues. But in this agency in California, they thinking about just with trash solutions, just with the solid waste solution. They have a public hearing every month that they present the reports about recycling, and not in general of recycling, but there is a session specifically for cans, other sessions specific for tires, other sessions specific for glass. So anyway, all kind of departments from Car Recycle should to present the numbers and goals and efforts in order to reduce, in order to reuse, in order to recycle, which means the 3 R's is very committed from them. Also, I did my professional affiliation in California Against Waste. California Against Waste is an NGO, which means a no-profit organization, and they promote advocacy in solid waste legislation, which means that it goes to the Senate and the assembly members in California, and they try to convince the assembly members and senators to create laws in order to stop the generation of trash. And today, I was in California 3 months ago, and I was very surprised with the good news. Today, they have a good program. They take all leftovers of the restaurants and the kitchens, the public or private restaurant, and they prepare these leftovers, like rice leftover or green leftovers, and they put in the containers, specific containers, and donate to the elderly shelters, to the other kind of institution that has need helping. So in 2014, 2015, I mobilized first Mariangela Vinciguerra. She is an architect, she's doctor. And also I mobilized the agronomist Fabiola Daiane from Goiânia. And we start to spread out my idea and my dream in order to create a zero waste society. And after that, we spread out our idea in our group of specialists, colleagues, family. My family in that time was very tired to hear me, because all the time I start to to defend the zero waste inside my house. And every time I said to all of them, please don't generate trash. Please go take your trash to your recyclable material and put inside the recyclable bin, please. And the family cannot to hear me more. So, but now they thank God for me because they understand now the importance. But in the beginning, it was very difficult. So in that time, in 2013, we promoted our first zero waste week. And after, in 2016, 2017, every last October, we promote a zero waste week here in Goiânia. Our first project was supported by the Department of State from the United States, and they gave us $22,000 in order to buy many kinds of compost bins. In that time, we donate over 100 compost bins in Goiânia. So in 1 year, we just mobilized over 100 families here. And it was very amazing. And we conquered like 10 awards here in Goiânia because of these actions. In 2017 and 2019, we promoted a zero waste school project in Goiânia City. And we implemented the recycling in 18 schools in Goiânia. We mobilized the students, the professor, for composting, recycling, and gardening. But in that time, it was very expensive for us to buy the compost bins, like in the zero waste for residents. In that time, we received many plastic bulk, recyclable bulks from the many stores, the bakeries, and we created this kind of handcraft compost bins. And we donated to the schools. In 2019, we started to spread this project, not only in Goiânia, but now we range as Jandaia City. In 2019, we implemented zero waste school projects in Jandaia City. Jandaia City has only 6,000 inhabitants, but it's a good city. And the mayor is a woman, and he cares about the trash, about the cleaning water, cleaning urban actions. In that time, our actions stay concentrated against the dengue fever, against the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, and zero waste in that time was a good solution because the population started to collect the materials from the street and destinate to the recycling, and destinate the banana peels, apple peels, and other kind of apple skins, and other kind of organic materials to the composting. And today, we have 7 schools in Jandaia that they sell the compost, they sell the compost bin, they sell the biofertilizer, the liquid that fertilizes the soil, and they sell the worms. And today is a great project over there. In 2020 and to the 2024, we promoted and is still promoting a zero waste school project in Goiânia City at American School. American School is a place where we will have the symposium of our Global Equalize project this year on September 17th. In 2020-2021, we implemented the Zero Waste Village projects in Teresópolis cities. Teresópolis was the third city promoted by Zero Waste Society. In this kind of condominium, is an eco-village, the houses first, they were motivated to sort their waste. Sorry for the Portuguese language, but I will try to translate for you. And we promote in those houses, over 100 houses that over there, the population there sort the material in 4 kinds of solid waste. One is recyclables. Recyclables goes to the recycling station. In this recycling station has 2 areas. One area for recyclable materials and other areas for trash, for rejects. This is a picture. We improved this station. Today, the station is very fancy, but at the beginning, they just put one sign. And after the station, the recyclable materials goes to the collectors cooperative. It's a kind of recycling organization. And the reject goes to the station, and after that goes to the landfill. Organic materials from those residents goes to the composting bin or composting pallets. They put all leftovers and gardening scraps to the backyards. And the hazardous materials or hazardous waste, they sorted and sent to the stores or some specific places that accept this kind of waste. The final project. Yes, you can.
In the way of time and to allow people to ask questions to your excellent presentation. Yeah, probably 10 more minutes. Thank
yes, you. At maximum. Sorry that. 2021 and 2022, we promote the Zero Waste City project in Jandaia City with 7 schools now, 5 drugstore, city hall, the prosecutor office, and the council of Jandaia. We are here in the drugstore. We promote many events when many materials like banners, compost and recyclable bins, and other kind of outreach materials, sponsor banners. And today we are promoting this global Eco Alliance, Brazil and Turkmenistan for Zero Waste in Goiânia, between Brazil and Turkmenistan. We conquered the collaborative alumni project. This project is from July to September. We are here with our team. And we have 5 objectives with this project. One is to create this international cooperation. The second is to promote a symposium. The third is to promote field trips and meetings. The fourth is to create a zero waste strategic plans for the next 5 years. And the objective 5 is this current webinar. We promote these 2 webinars, and the third one will be in September 10th. So if you want to wish to be partner with us, if you are from Brazil, and if you want to be a partner, please go to this QR code and you can join us in this project. If you are from other countries, you can send a message in your email and contact us. And thanks so much, guys. Thanks so much all audience, and sorry for something. Thanks, Arslan.
Dio, I can feel the passion of your professionalism when you are explaining about your field of expertise. So thank you very much for your presentation. I think before going to the questions from YouTube, I will ask you a question about education in zero waste. What are your lessons or solutions on how we can start to educate people or the society as we go to the zero waste future?
So first of all, Arslan, I think you have to be the part of the solution. I mean, if you don't recycle, if you don't compost in your house, the people will not believe in you. It's not, the people expected not to hear from you. The people expected to be in you the solution. So in my house, when I started to sort the materials, my family started to ask me, why are you sorting? And I showed them a one move that the people in that time was feed with the trash. It was very bad. And they start to realize that the importance to separate or to sort in order to promote social justice too. I think it's the most important to be an example.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I answer your question.
Yes, you did answer the question. And from here, Liliana, I'll be grateful if you can divert any questions we receive from the YouTube platform. But as we are waiting for that, I will probably ask. Yes, please, Liliana. If we have questions, we can
sorry.
go.
I was just saying to you that we have no questions for now in the chat. So it's nice for people watching us. Please, if you have any comments, just put in the chat on YouTube and we can read it here. And so after your next question, I would like to make a question to Diogenes as well later on. But
Please go ahead, Liliana.
Yeah, just I'm a little concerned if we still having time for Artur. So if it's better, maybe just pass the floor to Artur and we can sum up all our questions by the end. What do you think? Anyway.
Yes, thank you very much, Liliana. Thank you very much, Dio. I think that's a fair ask. So we will probably go now to Artur, who will be explaining about his expertise. Artur is also a Humphrey Fellow, and he's a great lawyer. And today he will be actually talking about COP30, which will be in Belém City, Brazil. So Artur, I think the floor is yours. Please go ahead, present yourself, and do your presentation. Thank you. I cannot hear you, Artur.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So thank you very much. And good evening to everyone. My name is Luiz Artur Saraiva Filho. I'm from Belém, the state of Pará in Brazil. I was Humphrey Alumnus from American University, Washington College of Law in Washington, D.C. in the year of 2019 and 2020. So today I will talk about the updates about COP30 in Belém that will be next year here in my place, in my city. So let's start for the presentation. Why it's not okay? Why it's not moving? Okay. So, sorry.
That's fine. Please go ahead, Artur.
So according to the World Meteorological Organization, the world is now warming faster than any time in recorded history. I grew up hearing scientists saying that Earth's temperature should not rise more than 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels if we don't want to face the worst consequence of climate change. In other words, an increase of natural disasters. Unfortunately, we didn't listen to them. And now it has become a reality. Last year, and this one, that temperature level, it means 1.5 degrees Celsius, was reached, setting a new record for of a global warming. Then nowadays, it has become common to hear from world news about the high damage caused by heavy rainfall or severe droughts in the world. For example, only here in Brazil, as Diogenes mentioned before, the state of São Paulo was hit by the fire. More than 2,000 fire outbreaks in just 2 or 3 days. And Pantanal last year. And also, as well as the floods that affected almost all of Rio Grande do Sul state at the beginning of this year. One of the main reasons, for sure, is that fossil fuels are still the main energy source in most countries. When they burn, they release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which trap the sun heat and, as a consequence, warm the planet. What do we have here in this graphic? We have this kind of perception. The group of 20, the world's largest economies, and their energy source. So, sorry for the Portuguese here. I will translate. This very clean blue, it's called wind and sun energy. The other blue, the more strong blue, is water energy. And the green is bioenergy. The yellow is renewable energy. And the gray color is the fossil fuels. So, of course, the fossil fuels, the gases, sorry. Of course, the gases are important for life on Earth. But the problem is the current amount of them in our atmospheres that is causing environmental imbalance and increasing temperature to critical levels. That's why today we should call climate emergency instead of climate change. As we can see, the planet is suffering. We cannot continue to act as if we were a deadly virus. We should be the cure. We should be the solution, not the problem. So how can we change this reality? Well, as individuals, we already know. Diogenes was great telling us about it. We should respect the environment to ensure it for the present and future generation. And as a nation, for now, I believe the best tools are the United Nations Climate Change Conference and the annual Conference of the Parties, the COPs. Why? You are maybe asking why that's so important. Because we have 190 countries agreeing that climate change can only be tackled through the common effort, through the collective effort. Although we know that most of the commitment set by the international community over the years haven't been fully met, we have to recognize that significant progress has been made in combating global warming. So now let's see when climate became a global concern. The background, Diogenes mentioned it, the Stockholm Convention. It was the first world conference where the environment was a major issue. In this convention, they also created the United Nations Environment Programming. And the other one was the Earth Summit in 1992 in Brazil. What they settled, the Agenda 21, Rio Declaration, and its 27 universal principles, forest principles, UNFCCC, that's what we mentioned before, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and the COP, the Conference of Parties on Climate Change, and also the Commission on Sustainable Development. So the conference highlights over the years. Let's see. 3, in Kyoto, they settled the protocol, commitment to reducing the greenhouse gas emission by 5.2% in the developed countries, parties. First studies about carbon credit, a new economic dynamic. We will talk about it later on the COP30. I will explain. COP15 in Copenhagen, commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, including developing countries' parties. And also developed country parties have committed to financially helping country parties to mitigate the effects of climate change in order to $10 billion per year. COP20 in Peru, established the NDC, Nationally Determined Contribution. What is it? It is an action plan, if I'm not wrong. It is a climate action plan to cut greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to climate impacts. Each country needs to update it every 5 years. This conference was important because they prepared the basis for the Paris Agreement in the next year. So COP21 in France, we have the remarkable Paris Agreement, holding the increase in the global average temperature to well below 2 degrees Celsius and pursuing efforts to limit it to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Developed country parties also should continue to take the lead on mobilizing climate finance and taking into account the needs and priorities of developing countries' parties. In order to $100 billion per year. That's what we have now. And it's called NCKG, New Collective Quantified Goal. What more? COP28 in Arab Emirates, focus on renewable energy sources. And this year we will have COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan. We don't know what will be the main topics there, but we have a guess. We have a guess. Probably a new round of climate action and the NDC that I told you before, because they need to update it. And next year started 2025 and 2030, and possibly the NCKG, the New Collective Quantified Goal on Climate Change. How much? We didn't know yet, but I was reading some news and they were talking about $1 trillion a year. That's what a developing country believes that is necessary to implement all the commitment did in Paris Agreement related to energy transition and mitigate the losses due to the global the climate changing impacts. But I was reading too that the main issue in Azerbaijan is that the negotiations meetings, they're not going so well. So they didn't know that they will gonna reach they're gonna achieve this amount of money, because beneficiary countries, of course they want more money available per year, while donor countries would like to stay maybe the status that they have now, but also they want to increase the contributing countries in this annual payment. So the negotiations that so far as I could see, they are not going well. And now we're gonna talk the COP30 in Belém. So this will be the first time that Brazil hosts the United Nations Climate Change Conference. The time and the location could not be better for this kind of debate. Amazon rainforest is one of the most important biomes in the world, and it is an important key for combating global warming. In this point, what I have to say, I would like to start this conversation about the COP30, mentioning the indigenous people's participation, because discussing climate and environmental solutions surrounded by the true guardians of the rainforest is a great opportunity to change the future. These people are essential for environmental conservation, and I will explain why. Let's think about it. Indigenous lands cover 20% of the Earth's surface, but they contain 80% of the world's remaining biodiversity. It means in these lands, 98% of the vegetation is still intact. So the protected area on indigenous land is much higher than private properties in rural zone that already degrade their space. Since the indigenous people have a close relationship with the environment and are entirely dependent on natural resources, their spaces have been preserved. On the other hand, we know that they are the first one to suffer climate change consequences. Based on it, I would like to share it, that they need to be heard and even more protected. What do we see now? What do we have now in this current government from the President Lula? He created an indigenous people ministry. So for sure that they will come and they will participate, because they are there, how can I say, the owners of the house, you know? So the conference will be important in this aspect. What more? Biodiversity and climate. Thinking about climate means thinking about biodiversity. biodiversity helps mitigate the effects of climate change through nature-based solutions. For example, plant pollination, carbon sequestration, and so on. And there is a lot of examples. So during the COP, I believe the government will announce new environment conservation area, but we don't know. Let's talk about deforestation and reforestation. Last year and now, we are facing the worst fire scenario in decades. The Amazon region was recorded here. Over than 21,000 fire outbreaks last year between these two years, according to the National Institute for Space Research. The current governments, state level and federal level, manage to reduce deforestation, but not the wildfires. And this is yet another consequence of the climate change, and should also be one of the key points of COP30. Regarding reforestation, we should expect some data from the Brazilian government, and of course, new commitments, because we know that standing first is synonymous with biodiversity and automatically climate change mitigation. And reducing of the greenhouse gases emission, net zero, when? We don't know. When? We don't know. Because it's uncertain. And let's talk about carbon market. The carbon market for Brazil, it's an important to be inserted in, because Brazil has a lot of potential in these fields. We know that this kind of market, reputational, it's reputation. And Brazil has many problems related to land use. That could be a problem, because if the land system were seriously, we could have great financial gains in this dynamic. So what happened now? What is happening here? What's going on here in the state of Pará? Last week, the governor of the state mentioned that Pará will issue the largest carbon credit in the world, probably 1 million credit, which can achieve more than $1 billion to the state treasury. The difference is that the carbon comes from historic public lands, not from private lands, the private properties. So it's a promise. Amazon rainforest has a lot to be benefit with this market. So next topic is energy transition. Country must put more pressure on a fast energy transition. And I believe that at this point, compared to others, Brazil is doing well, but we know that it can always improve. And the last one, no, but the other one will be climate justice. Climate justice, we know that climate crisis does not impact everyone at the same time. And the effects are not felt equally. Most of the responsibility lies with a few countries, individuals, and companies. And we know that worldwide, 70% of greenhouse gas emission come from just 10 countries, including Brazil, that hold the fifth position. And we're going to talk now about the climate finance, the new collective quantified goal. This topic will depend what will happen in the COP29 in Azerbaijan. But if this not happen there, probably it will happen in the next year here in Belém, in the conference, the COP30. And to conclude, I believe Brazil has a great chance of taking a leading role in climate negotiations between nations. And there are some reasons. The first one, nowadays, currently, Brazil is the head of the group of 20, the world's largest economies. Second, it has strong diplomatic ties with both global North and South. And third, Brazil is strengthening its institutions, as seen with the ecological transition pact between three branches of powers that was announced last week by the government. So they will stay together, the judiciary, executive, and the legislative. We work together to incorporate a more effective, sustainable development model here in Brazil. So as we can see, this is a clear message that Brazil wants to play a key role in addressing the climate crisis. Finally, I believe it's important to keep these words in mind. It comes from our constitutional letter. It says, all have the right an ecologically balanced environment, which is an asset of common use and essential to a healthy quality of life. And both the government and the community shall have the duty to defend and preserve it for present and future generations. That's the Article 225 of the Federative Republic of Brazil. And just to show you something about my city, here is Belém. We have some tourist points, and of course, we are so famous for the food, because of the food. And it will be a great pleasure to have you here in Belém next year. Please come and let's make the difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Artur, for the great presentation and great insights. Thank you for sharing the successes that your government is doing. I like the point about the Indigenous People Ministry. I think there is so many things we can learn from them. The carbon market development that you mentioned is also a very exciting part. So, vary of time, I think we can go directly to the questions from our audience. And again, I remind people, if you have any questions to both of our presenters, please do raise them, do send them to us. Liliana, could you please fire off with the question from the audience? I guess we have some.
Sure, thank you so much. And thank you both Diogenes and Artur for the presentation. And thank you, ARSLAN, as I am a civil servant from the Indigenous Ministry people here in Brazil. So we are hoping to have you with us soon. So yeah, we have a question. We have some nice comments in the chat saying how amazed people are with both the two presentations for tonight. And I would like to put a question. I think it's not directed for one specific presenter, so I will put this question for both for brief comments. Mr. Masao Okazaki from Jundiaí, São Paulo, very close to my homeland. She asked us about if it's not about the time for us to start to install incinerators and use these incinerators of waste to generate energy. So waste to energy. I will recommend him to just look at your presentation from last week. It's on YouTube as well. It's an example, a nice example of the use of technology. And he also put another comment in addition that he mentioned Professor Lutz, who used to say that CO2 are vital element for life as well. So he agreed with Professor Lutz. So it's not clear, but in his next comment, he says that the pollutants we should avoid, maybe it's not the CO2 in his opinion, but other components like nitrogen or phosphorus or whatever. So maybe you guys could just briefly comment all these considerations he nicely put in the chat. Thank you so much.
You want to go first, Artur?
Oh yeah, can be.
Whichever you will. Yes.
Yeah, can be. Yes, he's right. I believe the cattle field is another it's another problem that about the gas emissions, methanol, I don't know, CH4. So we had a lot of cattle field here in Brazil, and they are very. We know that they are one of the bases of the greenhouse gases that are doing this in this climate change. So we have a lot of potential to work with and to reduce it, of course, and not only this aspect, the CH4, but also the CO2, of course, and the industrial levels and the renewable energy. I believe that we have great companies doing a very good job. I follow one of them that is Raízen. Raízen is they work with sugarcane. They plant the sugarcane and they transform it into ethanol, the alcohol, and the fuel for car, for airplanes, for ships, and they also they do a kind of how is the name?
Recycling. They do the cycle.
It's like a circular economy, you know, circular economy inside. Yes, inside the company. So they goes to the seed, to the product, to the final product, and they don't waste anything. So I believe we are going well. We have good companies. I mean.
Thank you, Artur. Dio, do you want to comment on that as well? You are muted, Dio, I guess.
Yeah.
Please unmute yourself.
Sorry that my sound was my microphone was turned off. So I think Liliana answered very well on the YouTube platform chat that all chemical materials and chemical substances are very important in the nature. But the problem is that today we have unbalanced emissions, gas emissions to the atmosphere. So Today, we have more carbon emitted to the atmosphere than we need. So, of course, if you extract the CH4 methane from the solid waste, you can generate the energy. You can generate a kind of biofuel. So there is a market in Brazil today. There is a national program that incentivates the landfills and other biomass that can produce methane, because methane is very expensive. If you can sell for a good price, but the question is, you have to purify the CO2 and also CH4 from the landfill. It's not supposed to take off and put on the net. You have to purify this material, this fuel. So anyway, you have to adjust our energy matrix. Other question is, they talking about waste to energy. So you have to take care with this topic, because when I think the professor said on the chat on YouTube, why you cannot to implement incinerators in all counties and cities. First of all, because incineration is so very expensive. The cost is around, I can say, maybe 10 times that the landfill in Brazil. Secondly, because we don't have good regulation in Brazil. CETESB in São Paulo has a good regulation and supervisory, then surveillance that can follow the all system, but all the statewide agency cannot do it. So other things, when you burn directly trash, you generate hazardous gas emissions that can pollute the air. So you have to take care. The presentation of ARSLAN, they showed us that if you just bake and not burn directly, you can avoid this kind of gas emission. Maybe you can say something like that, Arslan, but I have to say, you have to take care with the technology. Don't put the technology, and technology will solve all problem. We have to adjust the system. Thanks.
You are right, Dio. I think it's you need to have a technology, but I think it comes as a systemic solution with a good supervision and good surveillance and monitoring. So, and this is hopefully what we are trying to achieve, to raise awareness among our audience so that we can achieve better waste management or potentially zero waste societies. Well, Liliana, if there are no further questions from the audience, and I'm very off time, I think it was a perfect timing for all.
Yes, no more questions. Thank you so much.
No questions. Well, in that case, I think I would like to thank again our presenters, DIOGENES and Artur, for your time today, for your presentations. Thanks to the audience for great questions and for participation. Maybe we could just thank again our sponsors for sponsoring this event today and our series of webinars, and probably play their videos now. So thank you very much. Please join us for our next session as well.
Thanks so much, guys. See you in the next section, September 10th. And Rosalie, if you are here, just say hello. And if you are available, of course, maybe you can say hello to everyone.
And you too, Liliana.
Hello, everyone. See you guys the next webinar, for sure.
Yes, guys. So thank you so much for follow us in the YouTube. And thanks to all my colleagues. I see you on September 10th.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.